Hey YouTube, JGreen302. I think I'm going to call this one People. Let's talk about people. Wives, friends, associates, neighbors, people. This one I have been thinking about for 2 months, 3 months. I would say that there has been many times that this subject has come up and I've contemplated it, but I've never felt ready to do a video on it until today. I waited until I had one of those days. I've had 2 back-to-back. I'm sure everybody knows the drill. You can do no right. Everybody has something negative to say to you. Everybody's got a bitch against you. Everybody you tend to talk to during the day has to find some fault with you. And after 2 days of this, let's just say that I've had enough. I'm really, really fed up right now. I'm sick of people. I'm sick of everybody that's been around me. I'm pissed off at just about anybody and everybody at this point. So now, I'm in the right frame of mind to discuss this subject. If you've been married or divorced, have you not had arguments? Have they not gotten heated? Have you not had friends that are no longer your friends? Have you gotten into arguments? Or have you had one of those days where your fuse was real short? So where am I going with this? Alright, here we go. For the sake of this discussion, let's say friends, associates, and neighbors. Let's go there. I'll leave the wives out because that's kind of like almost a different category. But keep it in the back of your mind. Think about this during a shit hits the fan scenario. Think about tempers. Think about stress. Think about take a moment and visualize yourself in a shit hits the fan scenario. Lights are out, no grocery stores. You are highly concerned about the amount of drinkable water that you're consuming. You're highly concerned about the amount of food that is being eaten. You're looking at your stockpile and you're doing mental math almost nonstop on how long will the stocks last. You are having difficulties finding a way to bathe. You're concerned about how much toilet paper there is. You are constantly armed. You are eyeballing the ammunition counts. You're under high stress. And an argument breaks out about how much food everybody's going to eat that night. Or somebody has a smart-ass comment during that high-stress period. If you've ever gotten into a nasty argument with the wife where things gotten out of hand, you start to see the picture. If you have ever been in a fist fight with somebody because they just pushed you too far, Now add guns, high stress, fear of food, etc., etc., etc. You now have the picture. My thoughts have gone this way. The more the stress, the more, and this is terminology that works for me, it may not be the best terminology, but walls. Walls, space, cool down time, watch what you say, watch what you do. An argument during a shit hits the fan can change from bad to nightmare, possibly in as fast as 3 seconds. And when emotions control decisions with armed people, need I say more? Keep your neighbors at arm's distance. Meet on neutral ground, talk, whatever. Friends, if you have friends with you, there needs to be separation for cool down if there's an argument. Be careful about people's temperaments and who you choose to be near you under the most high-stress situations that you can dream of. Factor that in to the planning and think about that very hard. There's nothing more dangerous than an enemy within. And when it comes down to survival, food, water, amongst people who are carrying guns and are scared shitless, nervous, wartime stress conditions, need I say more? I mean, stop and think about it. I know right now, one more person gets near me and runs their mouth, I might have to just knock them the fuck out because I've had enough. And I had a good day. But people say the stupidest damn things, are inconsiderate, they don't think things through before they engage their mouth, and at the wrong time it can really piss the wrong people off. So my point of this video is, people, think about that angle under those conditions. Because when you do, and you think about how many times people have pissed you off without those conditions, you start to see that the problem will amplify greatly. I don't have ideal answers on this problem, other than, as I did today, I sucked it up. Because to speak back, to stand my ground, to make my points would only have resulted in more arguments, nothing concluded, nothing gained, nothing, just a big waste of time. If we are talking about the food and there's an argument, I at least think I have an idea on how this can be solved, and it comes from some advice my old man gave me. And the way he told it to me was, in every household, somebody has to wear the pants. And what it means is, one person has to have the ultimate say. There has to be one head of the household. There has to be one head honcho. There has to be one acknowledged person that when they say, this is it, it's unquestioned. If there is an opening for that dispute, you are going to have a nightmare problem. Somebody has to wear the pants. And it has to be established early, it has to be established unequivocally, and it has to be understood and known, or get the hell out. It's not very democratic. But when you got people that are hungry and their world's been shaken, when it comes to the food, there's going to be arguments. When it comes to the water, there's going to be arguments. if there are children involved, there will be huge arguments because we're all going to have differences of opinions. The only opinion that counts is the one that rations out the food for the benefit of the group itself. And those are going to be some of the hardest decisions that are going to have to be made. And everybody's going to argue with them. But so long as somebody wears the pants, there can be a final say. If it's ruled by committee, all I can tell you is that a committee is a cul-de-sac where good ideas go to die a slow death. I thought that I would bring this up. I hope that it provokes some interesting thinking. It's an idea that has never been discussed anywhere that I've ever seen. And yet, it's the one that can get you killed faster than anything else I know of. Because at some point you have to sleep. And there's going to be somebody in the house that is pissed off with you with a gun and is scared out of their minds, and you're just one more freaking food eater. Start to see the problem. When we talk about shit hits the fan, everybody uses that term loosely. It's been bandied around to the point where when we use that term, it's like we're talking about soap. And people forget the depth of what shit hit the fan means. It means shit has gone nightmare. The rules have to change. The shit just got more serious than, well, basically anybody in the civilized world has ever seen. It gets very serious. So here's my wrap up. People, choose them well. Skills are a beautiful thing. But if you got a guy that is an extremely good doctor, but is the biggest asshole ever, you might want to look for a nicer guy that may not have as many skills and balance that asshole factor a little bit more heavily than most people would stop and think about. Friends, wives, neighbors, you all have to factor in the asshole factor. The greater the asshole factor, the greater the chance there's going to be arguments, disputes that are going to turn very nasty. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I have seen neighbors turn into bitter enemies, and that close proximity has gone violent for no reason. I mean, I've seen it not once, but many times. Neighbors can get really, really nasty with each other. And we're talking about here in the normal world. So when I apply shit hits the fan and I think about neighbors, I get very nervous. If any of you have seen any couple go through a divorce, I rest my case. People. Pay attention to people when planning for shit hits the fan. Assholes can fuck up everything. Thanks for listening.